So the Prey director has officially addressed the complaints about his female lead in his Predator film. Let's discuss. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Come on. Do it! Do it!
From the moment that this movie was announced, it was made very clear to me that it would be a key talking point in the quote-unquote culture war that's going on over modern entertainment.
Whoopie fucking do. Hey, I'm impressed.
I could personally give two fucks about that conversation at this point, which is why when I gave Prey an unfavorable review, which I still believe that it deserves, I decided to focus on one key aspect of that film that, if handled better, this conversation wouldn't even exist. If the writers and directors did one simple thing, this movie's biggest critics, including myself, wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
My, how the tables have turned.
The one simple thing is something that movies used to do all the time, and that's make us believe. The truth, as hard as it is to hear for some people, is that the fact that the lead character in this movie was female is not the problem here. The issue is that the script for this film didn't make us believe in her as a viable threat to a predator. If they would have taken the time to better build this character, as well as her capabilities and skills, I'm willing to bet that a lot less people would have had shit to say.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
And by the way, the same would go if this was a male character in the lead for this film. Because you would still have to sell us, the audience, on the prospect that this primitive tribe would be any kind of match for this highly advanced alien species. The onus on doing that falls on the people who are creating this film, not on the audience. How many times have we seen female characters, especially in the horror genre, overcome what would seem like insurmountable odds to defeat someone or something that clearly has the upper hand on them?
Don't fuck with the original.
Most horror franchises are built on that concept alone. The Alien franchise was built on that concept alone. Ripley did not start out as a badass warrior. If you remember, she was just a regular person put into a situation where she was in over her head. And she barely escaped with her life in that first film. But we believed in her as an audience because of how she was presented to us, and how she grew and adapted as a character over time.
Show me everything. I can handle myself.
And that's why to this day no one has an issue with the character of Ripley. So what happened here exactly? Did everyone just wake up one day and decide, hey, we don't like female characters anymore? Or is it possible that the writers and directors in modern day Hollywood just aren't as talented as they used to be? Or maybe they're just hiring the wrong people to produce these films. Either way, this conversation is ridiculous because we already have examples of female characters being written and portrayed in believable and organic ways.
That makes sense.
Now, as for director Dan Trachtenberg's comments about this complaint, he decided to take the usual approach and deflect criticism away from his poorly written character. He said, quote, "There was a very strange reaction too. It's almost a Mandela effect thing of the way people misremember the original movie. But I never really wanted to correct that thinking because it helps the movie. This movie is more exciting the more you feel like, how is she gonna pull this off?"
No, don't like that.
Even if you think a little bit harder about Predator, the end of that movie is where she begins, you know? Like, he ends up in a place where all the Comanches sort of have that knowledge base that Arnold has to resort to. I think people remember Predator as guys with big guns fight the thing, you know? First of all, I have to point out that this approach did not help your movie because otherwise there wouldn't be complaints to begin with.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
And here's the funny part. He's saying someone like me is remembering Predator wrong. He's talking about a movie that I've probably seen over 100 times and is one of my favorite movies of all time. And here's the thing, I even mentioned in my review how Dutch resorts to primitive methods to defeat the Predator when the big guns don't work. So yes, there is parallels to be drawn with the methods used in both films. But I say again, the original Predator spent a majority of that film building Dutch up as a capable and resourceful person so they could pull that ending off.
You son of a bitch.
And I'm not sure the writers of Prey did that. Telling me that she is a capable Comanche warrior is not enough. Telling me she wants to hunt just because people don't want her to is not enough. You have to give me a reason to believe in her. And that is where Prey fails and where Predator succeeds. Telling people like myself who criticized Prey that they don't understand the original Predator movie is probably one of the biggest cop-outs that I've ever heard. And I've heard them all.
Not impressed.
The issue here is pretty simple. Just write better characters. Write believable characters. I'm still dumbfounded that more people, and specifically critics, didn't point this stuff out when this movie was released. And that's why I'm convinced now more than ever that we can't be afraid to question things as a consumer, as an audience. Because if we don't, that's when we end up with movies like Prey, and Hollywood thinks that they're doing a good job, when they aren't.
So I strongly suggest that you wake the fuck up.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.